Hi guys, it's Alexi coming at you with this week's installment of Retro Gaming Goodness. So the longest January in the history of Januaries is finally done. 2023 can finally be set in motion and we can shift gears to what might be the longest February. In any case, time never stands still with all things retro, and we've actually been treated to some awesomely cool new things this time around. While we mostly talk about the extremely retro side of gaming, we tend to forget that the 90s, well, sorta kinda falls under that category nowadays. Of course, a 20-something like myself wouldn't know about that, but I digress. We've been drawing inspiration from the most old school things, and they do help inspire us with newer creative ideas. We also like to reminisce on simpler times back when life was much slower, and in a good way. We also like to recognize greatness, and maybe show a bit of appreciation in the form of something nice. Let's talk about that. But before we do, make sure to like and subscribe so you'll always be up to date with the latest retro news. Click that bell icon so you'll know exactly when our news goes live. Let's go! First up, we got a game that looks and feels totally retro, but is newer than your average modern title. We're talking about A Space for the Unbound. It's a gorgeous pixel art experience brought to us by Mohican Studios and produced by Toge Productions. Released in January of this year, the plot of this pixel art masterpiece revolves around teenagers Atma and Ryan, and is set very nicely in the late 90s. It takes us on a journey to Indonesia, but highlights all the elements one would find in your favorite Japanese anime. With a compelling story and gorgeous art style, you'll likely be picking this up if you like slower, less action-packed, slice-of-life titles that add a little bit of the supernatural. It's always nice to unwind every now and then, right? So if you're keen on unwinding and reliving that feeling of youthful exuberance, then it's best to check out A Space for the Unbound on your favorite console. We all love a thrilling action movie, especially if it came from a few decades ago. They just hit different, and in more ways than one, I'm sure. Now, while the James Bond franchise has been around for the longest time and has yet to wrap things up, we can't deny how one particular installment made a huge mark in gaming. Yes, I'm talking about GoldenEye 007, the pioneer of competitive first-person shooters. Well, at least according to many. The Nintendo 64 catalog has been on Switch Online for a while now, and GoldenEye 007 has been a Nintendo fan favorite since it gained popularity way back when. Since Nintendo teased it in September last year, everyone's been waiting. Thankfully, the wait is up. Just before January ended, GoldenEye 007 for Switch Online came to be, complete with its glorious full multiplayer expansion. Yes, it's here, and all the now grown-up fans can relive its classic competitive PvP whenever they wish. Whether it's on the go or on your gorgeous widescreen, the GoldenEye 007 experience is here, and it's here to stay. Given that news update, we hope you're all just a little shaken and not stirred. Lastly, some nice feel-good news, especially if you live in Japan. We all know Final Fantasy, and we know how massive of a franchise it is. With 15 major titles so far, a variety of spin-offs, and a critically acclaimed MMORPG, you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone who hasn't had at least heard about it. That being said, we can't deny that the 7th installment had the biggest impact in mainstream gaming. We love our Cloud, we love our Aerith, and a lot of us love our Sephiroth. With a movie, a remake, and copious amounts of fan art, we can't deny how huge Final Fantasy VII is. So huge that in fact, it got its own official day. Yes, you heard it. Japan's Anniversary Association has officially declared January 31st as Final Fantasy VII Day. While we're not too keen on the details like whether or not you don't have to come in for work, it's nice that a game with such a legacy now has its own place in history. Imagine, if you just so happen to be playing Final Fantasy on Final Fantasy VII Day, that could be quite the epic story many years from now. An epic story that could be told while the grandkids gather around to play Final Fantasy 30 or 25 at least. Well, there you have it! Another week of sweet retro gaming goodness. If you have suggestions for any news to cover, or if we missed anything, let us know down below. As always, don't forget to like the video so YouTube's algorithm shows us some love. Again, I'm Alexi, and I'll catch you all again next time.